Good Thursday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes early. Last I checked, it's like 5:21 now. And yes, we have some active weather. Most recently issued is a flash flood warning for the Knox County area, especially West Knox County, which jumps off the page. We had an EF2 tornado on Monday in West Knox County, and now we're also under a flash flood warning. So are you sure about that? I see aerial flood advisory. Yeah, it's there too. There's the flash flood warning. Knox County, we'll put this on the side of the screen here, but this will run until 9:15 this morning. I'm glad you're joining me. I'm actually live this morning on both Facebook and YouTube. You're on YouTube? I've been on YouTube for a while, but just trying to expand the reach. The other day, I was mainly on YouTube for an hour and 20 minutes, hour 30 minutes, and then I switched over to Facebook. Well, now I maybe figured it out. We're just wanted to kind of ease into it, but I'm on both channels right now, on the Facebook and YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/ at Captain Accurate, you'll find it. Hopefully you'll find it pretty easily. Anyway, this is the flash flood warning. The idea of turn around, don't drown does apply here. And we also have had before that an aerial flood advisory. That's what's the green box. That runs until 8 o'clock. So if it's a little confusing, you'll get both notifications and you'll find both pieces of information on the Captain Accurate Weather app. So hopefully if you've downloaded that, you'll find that pretty easily. But we do have quite a bit of downpours at this moment. The severe thunderstorm warning that we have in effect, I don't want to leave that off the page, affects Etowah down to the south. So we're talking about places like McMinn County until 6 o'clock this morning. So that's another 38 minutes, 37 minutes left, as you can see from the Ultimate Doppler Radar presented by InstaDry. If you need basement waterproofing, crawl space encapsulation, or foundation repair, InstaDry can help you out in a pinch at instadry.com. You'll notice Riceville, Etowah, Charleston, all this area being affected with a severe thunderstorm warning. And this is all going all across at this southern valley. It also includes Cleveland, and it looks like it includes Chattanooga. It's a pretty big box here. But if we go ahead and take a look at, let's take a look at some of the rainfall amounts. This is the big issue right now, is how much rain has fallen and what's continuing to fall. You can see some bullseyes off to the far west, maybe south of Crossville. This is all estimated, mind you, but it's Doppler estimate, 2.5, 2.4. Around Harriman, 2 inches. Just to the west of Knoxville proper, over an inch and still falling, and maybe 2.1 there in other parts of Roane County, for example. But further west, you can see the heavier rains certainly have shown up in yellow near McMinnville and Sparta, where they've had, in some cases, maybe 2.3, maybe 2.2. There might be even some more, 2.6. So we have a lot of rain that's already fallen, and this has caused or initiated the concern for a flash flood warning until 9:15 here in Knox County. Let's go back and show you again. It expands more than just Knox County, but I want to go back to the radar so you can see what we're dealing with. The only severe thunderstorm we have right now is the one that's south toward McMinn, parts of Monroe County as well. This all runs till 6 in the morning. You can see it also affects McMinn County, also into Bradley and Polk, as far the southwest as Hamilton this morning. If you're on the call, let me know. Let me know what channel you're on. I'll try and do both. So I got YouTube here. You got to click live. If you go to, it's not videos, but it's a live video, as it were, under the live tab. Let me switch my tabs because I'm on the YouTube side, and I'll want to find out what you're seeing over here. In fact, I'll go ahead and check while I'm here, see what we see as far as the live element. And if you want to leave me a comment here, because this might be where you tend to live more so than Facebook. If that's true, I'd love to be able to serve any way I can to get you the information. So if you're on here, let me know. This is what's going on YouTube. If we go back over here, now I can find a little bit what's going on Facebook. And you can see Robert Payne Jr. says, good morning, Audrey. You guys are up early. You know, it's 5:25. I don't usually go on in the morning until 6:40. But I'm on because of the necessity to get the information out. And we haven't even talked about lightning yet or power outages, because we had some of those left over from last Monday. We had an EF2 tornado hit, a very rare EF2 hit Knox County on Monday. Raymond says good morning. Glad to have Raymond here. And I can tell you what, as we look at this radar picture, one thing jumps out at you. A lot of red is focused in the center part of the valley now, moving in from the west. It's dropping off quite a bit west of Jamestown. So the key here is that this is not going to characterize the whole day. As I had indicated on my video last night on the app, that this would likely be mainly a morning event, and it would become much lesser degree, maybe a few remnant showers for the afternoon. But this too shall pass, as we have right now a flash flood warning in effect until 9:15. So it includes Loudoun County, includes Roane County. That's also being covered up by the aerial flood advisory till 8. That's what's in the green box. But we also have parts of Knox County under the flash flood warning until 9:15. So 9:15, flash flood warning. And we could go and zoom into the areas that are of biggest concern. That includes Farragut. Looking at Hardin Valley, you're under the flash flood warning. Oak Ridge, where I was just yesterday, took some great pictures of Oak Ridge. If you like these Tennessee spotlights that I've been doing, now 36 in total here in Tennessee, you'll want to check out the Oak Ridge pictures. A lot of history, past, present, and future, kind of highlighted in that display. Kingston, you're also included this morning in a flash flood warning. And as I'm going to continue to look at these towns, I want to also see what the National Weather Service is saying by easily just checking the app and seeing what they are anticipating from this point forward. And what may have caused them, obviously, to issue it when they did. A lot of this started to roll in between 2 and 4 this morning, and obviously it's now 5:30. It's still affecting Cedar Bluff. It's still affecting Dogwood. It's still affecting Harriman at this particular morning. All right, so we have a flash flood warning. No surprise. Southwestern Anderson is included. We haven't mentioned Anderson, but Southwest, we mentioned Oak Ridge. Southwest Anderson, Southwestern Knox, Northeastern Loudoun County, and Southeastern Morgan County and Roane County till 9:15. By their language, Doppler radar and automated rain gauges indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned areas. And anywhere between 1.5 and 2.5, right? We were just looking at the estimates a moment ago. Anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 inches have already fallen, and an additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 1.5 are still possible. So if you do the math, that's pretty easy. That's 2.5 to about, say, 4. So 2.5 to 4 total could fall in this box. That's why I'm focused on this particular box. This includes Rockwood. Who other towns could be included? Glen Alice, Barnersville. We've got Dogwood, Cave Creek, and it looks like Farragut, Rocky Hill. Some areas in Carnes, Bearden also included. I mean, just because you're not in the box, downtown Knoxville, doesn't mean you're not getting rain. But this is where they have decided, the Weather Service, to issue the flash flood warning. Fred says good morning. Coming back on camera. I want to say good morning. If you're just joining me, I am live streaming right now on Facebook and my YouTube channel. YouTube, you're on youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. So you have to throw in the @ symbol. That's how they roll. But good morning, early morning, David. Fred says good morning. I'm curious to know who's up this early. But the good news is not everybody is under the warned area. We have some areas that are of bigger concern. And the only severe thunderstorm we have so far is, in fact, the Southern Valley. And we're going to look at some velocity winds here in just a second. Denise says, well, lightning woke me up in Wallen. Oh, I bet it did. It was kind of noisy. And maybe the dog and cat could be under the desk. They could be under the bed. Sometimes that's the litmus test. To put the finger in the air, see if the wind's blowing. Oh, I hear some lightning. That must be severe. Well, in this case, it may just be waking up the dog and cat. But Denise, thank you so much. She says, is this going to be bad enough that I need to go to the basement? No. Probably not. But you may have to turn around, don't drown if you're driving to work. If you're driving to school this morning, or if you're driving someone to school this morning, you might want to watch out for big puddles. There's going to be a problem because this runs until what time? 9:15. Oh, man, my kids go to school before 9:15, Aldridge. I figured that to be the case. Knox County went back on the 8th, half a day, but now it's a full day. And, of course, Sevier County, shout out to them, they went back to school yesterday. And everybody who's been at school now for a couple of days, Claiborne, Granger, Blount, Hamlin. In fact, today is the 10th. Let me give a shout out. I got some notes here. A shout out to Cornerstone Christian in Hamlin County. They go back today. Thank you, Carrie Aguilar, for sharing that with me a couple of days ago. So we've got that going on. We got school. We got buses. Is this going to stick around all morning? Probably not all morning, but certainly for the next hour or so, I think it's probably going to be a problem. There's going to be some runoff. I'm going to look at temperatures here and all the rest, and maybe even power outages. So stay with me. Thunder and light rain here in Maynardville. Connie Rogers says good morning. And I got a note here from, looks like Mildred says good morning. So there you go. And if I go back to Facebook, are you on Facebook? Oh, I got 3 people on Facebook. So it's growing. Someone's like, waking up. Is he on YouTube? He's on YouTube, honey. We're on YouTube. Yeah, we're on YouTube too. So if you have a message, let me know. I'll do my best trying to make light of the fact that this is not going to be a Monday repeat. It's going to be maybe a slowdown, but it's not going to be as bad. One of the issues that came up in conversation is we're not under the level 3 risk like we were on Monday very often. Doesn't happen very often, but boy, when we are, it should put an antenna up in the air. I don't like enhanced risks. I don't like level 3 risks. That's sometimes a real issue. So getting back to the ultimate Doppler radar, we've issued, or we should say, we've covered the flash flood warning that was issued by our friends at the National Weather Service, and it's the burgundy box, right? I don't want to say it's red. Somebody says it's kind of more burgundy. If it were a flashing red, that would be a tornado warning. This is not, I repeat, not tornadic. This is not a tornado. And some of you are thinking, well, you should have, nobody said that when we had one. This is true. Sometimes the Weather Service issues them when they have the intel, and sometimes they can get by, maybe get by you. In this case, this is a flash flood warning for the 1.5 to 2.5 that's already fallen, and another 1.5 to an additional 1 to 1.5 that could fall. So you're still looking at a 2.5 to 4 inch rainfall in this particular area. So if you're in this box right in here, I'm doing a little X here, filling in the box, right? If you're in this area, this could again receive 2.5 to 4 by the wording of the National Weather Service. Let's put this into motion. Let me show you where we've been in the last hour, right? This is what's transpired. All this rain, the heaviest in red, now moving through central Knox County. It's stretching southward where we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Monroe County, McMinn until 6 a.m. That's less than a half hour. So we have the potential for 60-mile-an-hour winds down here. And if you throw in the lightning, oh my, look at the box. 2,770 total strikes. So you've got a lot of lightning strikes. You've got a lightning show. And if this were perhaps during the middle of the day, with the heating of the day, which this is not, this could potentially have been worse. So let's be thankful it's coming here before the sun comes up. Just throwing out maybe Captain Obvious this morning that this is not as bad as it was Monday, and certainly not going to be. What you're seeing is probably the worst of it we're going to see. But we'll see. You still got till 9:15 for a flash flood warning to expire in Knox County, and this could be extended, meaning we could see other areas maybe over here, right? Where you see some red areas, we may see a new box form. And that's why I'm on live here at this moment, because I wanted you to be prepared. You go out the morning, this morning, if I waited till 6:40, there would have been some question marks, what's going on? But the beautiful thing is that's why my app works 24/7. You get the alerts, you get all that. Let me go back real quickly to take a look at perhaps the velocities. We've got some strong winds potentially moving across parts of the severe thunderstorm warning. That's till 6. We'll go down here to take a look at maybe the velocity winds here. And if we do a little inquiry, we might see some strong winds. Yeah, 75. That's a good question. 73. You've got some really damaging winds in the Southern Valley, maybe even as close by as Madisonville. But if we were to expand the view and maybe turn this off for a second, move further north, there's still some very strong winds, perhaps even in Loudoun County at this point. So please note that these winds don't necessarily line up perfectly. They could be more indicative of winds aloft, but there's sometimes a transfer from top to bottom. There are sometimes winds that do transfer from the higher parts of the atmosphere and come down. So again, if you're in the severe thunderstorm warned area, please know we've got some very strong winds. It could be excess of 70 around the Etowah area this morning. In fact, let me go ahead and look at what the Weather Service is discussing at this moment in terms of the severe thunderstorm warning. If you're watching me from that area, this is what we're contending with. It's a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Bradley. That's out of our viewing area. Southwestern Meigs. We'll probably have a few of those who watch us here. Polk County. Southern McMinn. I know we have some McMinn County viewers. Southwestern Monroe County. And Hamilton County till 6. That severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending 9 miles southwest of Dayton to near Soddy Daisy to 6 miles west of Lookout Mountain, moving east at 60. So this has winds of 60 miles an hour. My computer suggests it could be over 70. So again, damaging wind, yes. Could that cause power outages? Absolutely. In fact, let me go back real quickly to take a look at the power outages. Let's see where we were. Now, we had some left over from Monday, about 300 as of 4:30 this morning. Let's see if we put the time lapse on this. Yeah, it's gone up, maybe to 1,000. So now we have, 300 at 4:45 this morning. And now that we've passed 5:30, we are now, we've added 700 new power outages. So this is just maybe insult upon injury. It's not a good situation when you lose power, but if for some of you that might be losing it, I hope and pray that it comes back quickly. That's my expectation. And there has been more power outages in other parts of the state. This is just a time lapse over the last hour or so, so it gives you an idea of where things have been. And there's been more going on across parts of even Shelby County. It looks like they've had quite a few. In fact, to turn the warnings off, looks like they've had, let's see, won't turn that off readily, but you get a sense anything that's yellow is about 10,000. So that's where things stand at this particular moment. Let me go ahead and take a look real quickly. We're going to look at some clouds. Obviously, when you see yellow, these are the cold cloud tops. Where you see red, there's thunderstorms growing dramatically. And that's what's happened when we look at the IR. This is the infrared satellite imagery. Bigger picture shows us blowing up in Knox County, and we said it would likely occur mainly after, well after midnight. I said 2 to 4 is probably a good start time. And in some cases for the plateau, that was right on target. Meanwhile, the visibility, because of the rain, maybe less for the fog, but the low clouds has dropped visibility in Wartburg down to 1 mile, 2 miles Oak Ridge, 2 miles in Knoxville. So if you're on the call, let me know. Like I said, I'm on YouTube too. You say, are you sure you're on? I see it says it now. I've got 4 people. That's a big start for 5:30 in the morning. That's a big 5:37. So I've got them on YouTube now, 5 watching. So if you're on YouTube, let me know. I'll do my best to answer some questions. Some of the questions from Facebook coming from April. She says it is nasty in Monroe County. If you are anywhere near 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, you're going to have some impact. You're going to see some trees. You're going to lose some power potentially. And just be prepared. And it could be as it works its way east. Now moving, according to the National Weather Service, is moving east at 60 miles an hour. So this is moving pretty fast. It's not going to linger very long. Brian says, glad to see you're up early and keeping us safe. My pleasure, Brian. Connie says, lots of thunder in Moorestown. Joshua says, lightning, school bus crash. Oh dear. That's frightening all by itself. Talking about school buses crashing, that sends chills down every mom and dad in East Tennessee and around the country because we don't like to hear that type of information. But I can't get back to you just to give you some of the current conditions, as it were. I wanted to show you where we stood in terms of visibility, where we stood in terms of temperature. We're at 69 degrees Knoxville, 70 in Sevierville, 68 in Wartburg, and 66 in Crossville. Yes, I'm getting back to the radar here in mere moments, but just wanted you to know where we stood in terms of temperature. And while it is 69 degrees here, 68 in Wartburg, they're in the low 70s in Chattanooga. So look at those arrows that are swimming, coming up from the southwest. So it's adding a little more humidity, adding a little more rocket fuel to these storms that are coming in this morning. Could it have been worse? Had they occurred later in the day with the heating of the day? Yes. But it just happened to be coming in the wee hours of this morning and as the day was just getting started. Dew points are pretty tropical. Kingston 72 and Knoxville is at 69. So it is humid, no doubt. And the wind speeds, we're probably going to see quite a bit of color. Anything that's kind of green is at least 20. And again, this is not going to be exact in terms of where some of these storms live. This is, again, 10 miles an hour is what we have observed at McGee-Tyson most recently. I would be remiss if I didn't show you this. The Weather Prediction Center did mention late last night, early today, that we could have some scattered flash flooding. We've already had several handful of counties, and what you're about to see is representative of the next day, that's today, after 8 a.m. They had pretty much everybody yellow until about 8 a.m. because that's when these excessive rainfall outlooks start and end. So they run from 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, yesterday, to 8 o'clock this morning. That's 24 hours. And then they'll have a new outlook, which is this one, that'll run from essentially, will run from today until tomorrow at 8 a.m. But really, this is a mainly morning event for us. And I just want to show you, as illustrates here, how some of the rain could be locally heavy. Future rainfall Exhibit A suggested over 2-3 inches potentially around Tellico Plains. And we have already observed in some cases a lot more than that. This other model suggested that we would see potentially close to 2 inches, 2.5 around, say, Tellico Plains, Athens, and Oneida. But again, this is all happenstance that we've already seen in many cases. Now, the concern for severe weather was here, but now it looks like it's pushing further south and east. And that should not say tonight. You'll have to forgive me, I didn't change that banner, but I can tell you this, a lot of it's beginning to move out of Knoxville today. And then by tomorrow, well, tomorrow's going to be a better day, even though we have just about a 30% chance for some leftover showers tomorrow. Most of the storms tomorrow should be in Chicago. All right, so let me get back to the radar. This is the key. We've been looking at some winds that are maybe closing in on 27, 49, 53. If I close this out, and do another inquiry because we can check some of these white areas around north of Madisonville, shows 77. Not saying this is going to verify, but if it's 65, 77, you're going to find some very strong winds associated with what's moving between Loudoun and Etowah. And right now it looks like we have a flash flood, excuse me, a severe thunderstorm warning. It's kind of a shrunken box around Etowah at this point. So let me go back to the actual radar, not the velocity, and we'll take off some of the decluttered here sign. Now, we just got a new flash flood warning. Isn't that interesting? I was just saying they could probably do a new box. Well, just follow the dark red. That's where they could, hey, there could be another one after this. They got a new one, though. This one over here is where I'd say maybe they're going to draw one in this area. Maybe there's one extended southern valley in here. But everybody is getting a lot of rain in a short period of time here at 5:42 this morning. Let me bring you up to speed. The new one lasts until 9:45. So we have one box that runs until 9:15. We got a new box that extends until about 9:45. So that's just 15 minutes prior to 10 o'clock. Does that mean it's going to rain as intensely now as it will at 9:45? No. This will be moving on out long before that. But it's the concern for runoff that will be the biggest issue. So if you're in Blount County, if you're in the rest of Knox County, I want to say most of Knox County, you're under some form of either a aerial flood advisory, a flash flood warning that will be running for a couple more hours. And that's the big concern. It's about turning around and don't drowning, so to speak, in terms of this weather. As I come back on camera, I'm going to look back over here. I see a note from April. She's saying hello. April, it's got the emoji faces that aren't too happy. And I understand. Darcy Soar. I actually had Big Ed's Pizza with one of my premium members yesterday. It was Darcy. She is a science teacher, and she said that there was some damage. I don't think I'm betraying any there was some damage in the Kingston area. Anyway, school was kind of put on hold for her. Anyway, as a science teacher, but she says it's raining and thundering here south of Kingston and dreading the getting out. I understand that. I totally understand that. And as I mentioned, Joshua's note about lightning and a school bus crash kind of sends chills about all the area, no doubt. Flash flood warning, 9:45. I want to read more about where this is now. Bring you up to speed. I'm on the app, so I'm doing nothing more differently than that you could access with my app at the App Store, Google Play. Flash flood warning, the new one, that runs until 9:45, is in fact northern Blount, over here. We have central Knox, central Loudoun, and southeastern Roane in this box, and west central Sevier County. Didn't mention Sevier County, but Sevier County, northwest, is now under this flash flood warning till 9:45. 9:45. And at last check, between 1 and 2 inches has fallen. We're going to go back to the accumulation here in a moment. And the expected rainfall is 1 to 2 inches in the next 2 hours. So, again, here we are doing math. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. That's 2 to 4. That's how one of these models I was showing repeatedly. It said 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that model doesn't know what it's saying. Sometimes you get a blend of the two. So just know we've got flash flood concerns, and it's right here in the heart of our viewing area. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the towns that are in this particular box. So again, the one that's to the west includes Harriman, runs till 9:15. This new one has been issued till 9:45. And you can see just a sliver of northwestern Sevier County over here till 9:45. But these are the towns that are really under the crosshairs for some heavy rain. So you are susceptible, if you're in Friendsville, Maryville, Alcoa, for a total of 2 to 4 inches. Arrowhead, downtown Knoxville is also listed. There's a lot of heavy rain in red going right down through, say, Market Square, South Knoxville, Neyland Stadium, including Vestal, and, say, Meads Quarry, the Iams Nature Center. They're all getting some very heavy rain at this point, also under the flash flood warning. You can see Fountain City included, Black Oak, Powell's included under a flash flood warning, and 1 to 2 inches is believed to has already fallen historically in the last little bit of time, and then another 1 to 2 may fall in the next 2 hours. This is the concern. So looks like places like Bayview, Stock Creek, Lakemont, Rockford, McGee-Tyson. If you're within a few miles of McGee-Tyson, there's a pretty solid chance that you're under the flash flood warning until 9:45. April says Nyota also. Okay, Vonore is getting lightning really bad. A lot of lightning. What if we put that on top of this? Yeah, I can see a lot of these lightning strikes are popping up. And it really gets active, as you can see, the further I pull out. It's like a whole lightning show. How many do we have here? 5,000? You'll notice the box, the total count, goes up and down depending on how far I zoom out and how much I zoom in. So there's still quite a bit. If I just focus on our viewing area, essentially here, you're looking at about 2,700. So it's a lightning show. This will cause the dog or cat to run away and hide under the desk. And this is just part of it the way it is. But I can tell you, our flooding concern is paramount for us. Yes, there is a severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, we know that this thing's moving to the east. Let's put this right in here at 60 miles an hour. It's going east. So we've got this storm that's a severe thunderstorm warning right here. This would include the following towns. McFarland, 548, severe thunderstorm warning. Heading towards, say, Jacktown at 549. Tellicoe Beach, 549. Turtletown, 552. Boy, you get specific, Aldridge. Yeah, I'm doing my best. Smithfield, 552. And if you're in Pine Ridge, 554. These are all working its way to the east. Now, that's not to say by the time it gets to these towns it dissipates. It could, but it's going to produce some damaging wind, I'm sure, in the box, the yellow box that's already formed here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that runs for a little less than 15 minutes from now in McMinn County and Monroe County. So just want to throw that out there. If you're traveling in that direction, that's where the stronger winds are. In fact, anywhere around Madisonville and Loudoun, you will have found the winds kick up quite a bit, as we saw from the velocity moment here. As I go back to the actual, not the actual, but the estimated amount of rain, let's go 6 hours here. And you can see some of the boxes that are still here. One of the things that jump out at me are the yellow areas, right? So as the computer ingests the information, anything that's yellow is about 2, based on the legend at the top of this picture. So if I do a little eyedropper, I can see about 2 inches around Harriman, 2.1. West of Crossville has had 2.4 inches estimated. Sparta, about 2. Say east of McMinnville, 2.5. And Knoxville so far, maybe 1.25 inches. Some areas maybe over 2 inches just west of Maryville. And it's still coming in. Karen says, thank you, David, so much. Just want to get you out the door and get you out the door safely. Cody, one of my premium members, says, driveway, he says, he says the driveway has turned into a river in Friendsville. See that? It doesn't take much. Cody, thank you for that update, 1. And 2, hope you stay safe and know that this too shall pass. But as we see, oftentimes, they'll issue a flash flood warning for hours into the future, even though the pattern, the active rain, won't last that much longer, maybe half the time that the warning runs out. So this is going to go to about 9:45. Maybe this is all done and done with before 8 o'clock, maybe by 7:30. That's the case, but then runoff lingers, and so we still have kind of a mark that's been left by all that heavy rain. Lana Johnson says lots of lightning in Kodak, and it's raining. She's got her 2 cups of coffee. Everyone have a safe day. Glad to have Lana here. Also, if you were just joining me, I'm also on YouTube at this very moment. So if you're a YouTube person, go to youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. And you'll find I've got 4 people watching right now. If you're on YouTube, we gotta build up the YouTube channel. But this has been streaming now for 29 minutes. It says that right here. I can see that, and I can tell I got 2 thumbs up. So those of you who like me on YouTube, want to see me on both platforms, I'm trying to do both at the same time. It's like walking and chewing gum, right? I just hit a button and I got both of them on at the same time. But I'm happy to have you here. And if you have a comment, I'll do my best to answer any questions that you might have. Let's see here. Let's see. I have to hit this button. There it is. I got Michael Hawk. My first YouTube comment. Michael Hawk says, steady rain and rumbles here in Morristown. Thank you, Michael. He's watching it like a hawk. I joke with him, as we did last Monday. That's often what you have to do with the weather, especially when severe storms are in the area. We have had 1 severe thunderstorm box, really, that included the Southern Valley, Etowah, areas and parts of Monroe County. But really, the flash flood warning is really what's the biggest concern. And flooding, not to be too grim, but flooding does take lives across the country on a yearly basis if you're not careful. So please take flooding seriously. That's why we often say in the weather community, turn around, don't drown. It seems like a cliche, and you might think you know the area so well. And I think Cody just pointed this out on Facebook just a second ago, that like suddenly a driveway becomes perhaps maybe a driveway, like a river. And so you might say, well, I know this area very well, but you may not know a sinkhole could form. You never know. Or a little pothole could be forming, and you get stuck, and then you wish that you didn't proceed forward. You see what I mean? But I want to point out the good news here. If I point out the bad news, we've got a flash flood warning till 9:45 here. We have another, initially was the flood advisory. That runs till 8, and the one in Harriman runs till 9:15. Pretty sure that's 9:15. 9:15 is the one that was in Harriman. But the point I wanted to make was that things are drying out nicely northwest of Jamestown. So if we were to pick towns that are doing well at this point, I would probably include Cookeville now. There's areas over here that we're going to start to see some drying time. So this is a great opportunity for me to show you visually. We're going to go forward in a time machine. We're going to go to 6:52. But David, it's only 5:52. I know what you're thinking. You say, how on earth can you do that? Simply by using our future radar. We can go forward in 1 hour, right now, and see where things are. And this is where things are likely to be. Let me go ahead and show you what this looks like in the next 60 minutes. Ready? This is where things are going to go. Are they getting better or worse? Looks much better in Jamestown within the next hour. And some of the reds are disappearing toward Cosby and Newport. So this is the 1 hour future radar, one of the tools that you have equipped on the Captain Accurate Weather app, which is free, by the way. You can check that out. But this is showing us at the moment where things are likely to progress in the next 60 minutes. So oftentimes you get the question, when's this going to get out of here? Well, this is what's going to happen in the next hour. How graphically could I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Shows you the red areas start to wane toward Newport and Cosby. You do get some heavy rains there in the next hour. But the rain starts to lighten up, especially northwest of Crossville and certainly from Jamestown. The blue area is the lightest here. So again, we're going to see maybe a big dramatic change in the next 60 minutes. And this represents 6:53, even though it's 5:53. Does that help? I hope it helps. Trying to make make the best of our situation. Trying to make lemonade out of lemons. I see a brand new flood advisory just issued for Monroe County here until 9 o'clock. So that's 9 o'clock. So this includes Southern Blunt. So if you're not under a flash flood warning in the burgundy boxes, the polygons, you may very well be under the green flood advisories, and they run now, a new one, until 9 o'clock for Southern Blunt County and northern sections of Monroe County. All right, let me go back to the comments. I see a note from Pauline. She says, holy torrential downpour and lightning strikes, Captain. Yeah, it's like a Batman, right? It's certainly from maybe the 60s. But I would say it's tough. And please be extra careful. Pace yourself. Check on your neighbors. And with school back in session, school bus drivers really need to be extra cautious here as this heavy rain starts to move away. And most of the heavy rain you can see is in red. So if you are thinking this is like a traffic stop, the red area is certainly the heaviest rains. That's the highest reflectivity. That's where the rain is most intense at this very, very particular moment. But I go back full screen and look at your comments at the same time. I got a note from Judy Kerr. She says it's rumbling, flashing, and raining in Rutledge. Please be safe, and reminder, turn on your headlights. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that reminder. That's a great reminder. The great reminder. As we're looking at the Ultimate Doppler radar presented by InstaDry, foundation repair, basement waterproofing, and crawl space encapsulation. Isn't that a great name for a radar sponsor? InstaDry. Make it dry, David. Make it dry. Well, that's what they do. Go to instadry.com. You may have some problems with water in your basement before long. And they're always there. Give them a call. Ed says, good rainy morning. Stay safe. It's a watch. He says for the kids on the bus stops, please, extra careful. And the headlights, Judy, that was a great reminder and a great tip. Marie Johnson says it's storming in Loudoun County. Lots of lightning, no doubt. And as you could probably imagine, there's going to be continuing some issues here in terms of the slowdown, simply because of the standing water. What about the lightning? Can you go back to the light? Oh, I don't like that. 2,680 total strikes. Now, where you see positive, where you see negative. I get questions on this all the time. Most lightning strikes from cloud to ground would be negative. But again, the positive strikes are typically hotter, much hotter, and they represent maybe 5% or less of all the strikes. And most of the time, and when the positive are the ones that come from the anvil, the top of the thunderstorm cloud, and they usually represent what we call the bolt out of the blue. And they oftentimes, around the country, they cause forest fires. The positive strikes are shown on your screen here in yellow, and the negative are shown on as white. So you'll notice there's a lot more white lightning strikes, but there are quite a few yellow lightning strikes, which is the positive, and it keeps things on our toes. So please, some people like to know what's going on, and usually the number of positive strikes, the higher number, is usually a good sign that the storms are, in fact, quite strong. So we don't need that reminder. We know we have severe thunderstorm warnings down to the south. You can see this is beginning to show up outside the box right here. I'm looking just to the east of Etowah. I'm doing a little drawing. It's about to move into North Carolina. But southern Monroe County and areas now leaving McMinn County for the strongest storms for that severe thunderstorm. If I go back real quickly, we're going to go ahead and go back to look at the velocity. I think it'd be helpful to see if we get velocity here and see if we get some of those winds. How strong are they showing up here? 56, all right, 41, not quite as strong as before. There may be some bursts of wind south of Maryville that's close to 64, but not all this translates to the ground. It does show you where the storms are angry, and they're obviously where they're white and almost white-green, green-white, light green, is usually where the strongest winds are at this point in time. Let's get back to the first element, which was our biggest concern, was the accumulation. How much rain do you think we're getting? How much rain more do you think we'll get? Well, we've picked up, as I mentioned, 1 to 2 in some cases in Knoxville, Knox County. We've got a new little box there, just turned yellow. So west of Maryville, 2.2, 2.2, Harriman about 2, west of Crossville about 2.6. Cumberland County's had quite a bit of rain too, and they are not, I repeat, not under the flash flood warning. But be mindful, Cumberland County is governed by the National Weather Service in Nashville, and of course the rest of us are governed by Morristown. So different set of eyes, different set of subjectivity, some decisions, and maybe they didn't have as much rain in Cumberland County as we did on Monday. It's all dependent on decision makings from the Weather Service offices, and they coordinate. They don't do this haphazardly. They're always in communication with one another. I can tell you this, as we look at the big picture, let's go a little loop here. Let's go over the last, you know what would be good? Let's go back 4 hours. No, let's go back 6. We just looked at the rainfall over the last 6 hours. Look at what was going on at midnight last night. There wasn't much at all. I think this is important to note because, as you'll see, a lot can change in a few hours, right? You said 2 to 4. I saw it in print. Or I saw your video. I heard you said it was going to start 2 to 4. Well, there's 2. It's kind of the plateau. There's 3. There's 4. Yeah, I mean, nothing's precise, but as far as most of us, we had a start time between 2 and 4. It's still raining. And guess what? It's now almost 6 o'clock. 1 minute shy of 6 a.m., Captain Accurate, and it's where it's moving. It's moving away from Knoxville. The heaviest of rains, with the red reflectivity, is in fact moving east toward Gatlinburg and Newport. And we saw the future radar. That's where it's going to go, and that's where it's likely to fall apart and weaken. So that's where things are at the moment. Just wanted to show you the last 6 hours. So this is kind of what I like to show my premium members, the Captain Accurate radar review. So it's like, what did I miss? When did this rain get? Oh, that's helpful. I'd like to be able to see what's going on. That's what is one of the nice things about having that at my disposal and be able to go back hours at a time. Now, you'll notice from the Ultimate Doppler radar, we got still some downpours. Let's go where we think the rain is probably coming down in buckets right now. Clearly, far and away, the colors are lightening up a wee bit. I mean, it's academic. But Oak Ridge, Farragut, Harriman, not as intensely colored as it was just an hour ago. Even when I started at 5:20 this morning, we had some issues in these spots. But now the hot spots in red cover Newmarket, Jefferson City, which I think of Monday. Jefferson City comes to mind. They had some serious flooding in Jefferson City. Is it possible? Do you think? Yes. Do you think it's yes? Do you think they could do a new box? It could be something to watch, right? I'm not clairvoyant. I can't speak for that. It's kind of like being, what do you think the baseball umpire is going to say? Well, he's going to call balls and strikes. And I'm just seeing balls and strikes for Kodak, Sevierville, Seymour, and Pigeon Forge. We may see a flood advisory here. We may see a flash flood warning issued soon. It's possible. And it might even include places like Townsend down here. But these are the hot spots as I see it right now. Would be Kodak, Sevierville for the intense rainfall that's falling right now. Wares Valley included. But Wares Valley's not under a flash flood warning. Maybe not yet, but that's what you're getting. You're getting the most active weather in red based on the reflectivity. So I just wanted to share that with you as we're looking at some of the intense rain near Gatlinburg now. Some of the intense rain that's over 40 or 50, what we call dBz, decibels. Think of like your stereo. If you're a child of the 80s or 90s and you like to turn up your stereo to like a whopping 10, this is like 49. It's really loud. And that's what we're getting, thunderstorms and a lot of noise from this red area in Kodak, Dandridge, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, stretching down toward Tremont, I mentioned Townsend, and possibly even into Greenbrier, Elkmont. Heading further east, we got Pittman Center under some very heavy rain at the moment. Harrisburg, Sevierville, I mentioned Walnut Grove. Didn't mention Walnut Grove, but there it is. And Dandridge. Dandridge getting quite a bit of rain at this particular hour. I got another note from Joshua. He says he's got lightning at 6 a.m. Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate your help. Not sure where you are. You mentioned the bus crash. If you have any more intel about that, Joshua, let me know. And I might have missed the comment because sometimes they scroll down fast. Wanda says, got a thunderstorm here in Newport now. Interesting. Steve Stone, one of my premium members, says he's got Rockford. We're at a calm period. That's good. Rockford's got a calm period, and it may not be as intense. But again, those flash flood warnings last. It's kind of like it's like traffic, right? I think it was a Tom Cruise movie, that traffic has a memory. So it makes sense. Like these storms, they have a memory. Even though they drop a lot of rain, the flooding lives on. We know that to be true with rivers sometimes when they come out of their banks because they could swell long after the event is over. Got a huge downpour from Lana Johnson in Kodak right now. And as mentioned, Rockford, according to Steve Stone, says we're pretty calm. And I'm also on YouTube right now. We're streaming on both at the very moment. Looks like I got, how many people on here? I got 4 people watching. I mean, given the fact that it's 6:03 and people are just waking up. He's on YouTube, honey. Yeah, I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. You'll find me. But if you have a comment, let me know. Michael Hawk says he had steady rain and rumbles here in Morristown. And Michael is watching on YouTube. So glad to have you both on here. And if you like to one format over the other, let me know. I like to try to expand my reach and do my best to get everybody the information that they need. But as I'm looking at the positivity of this map, I'm looking at Monticello. It's improving. I'm looking at Jamestown. It's improving. And soon, within the hour, it's probably going to be improving in northern Cumberland County simply by the trend that we're seeing here in the last hour. And if you want to see the last hour looped, there it is. If you'd like to see, wow, okay. So where's the red? It was in Knoxville, and now it's in Dandridge. So that's how far it's moved in 60 minutes. And the heavy rains around Madisonville have now moved east. Still moderate rain in yellow, but the heavy rain in red is working its way towards Sevier County. I'd say a lot of Sevier County is getting the steady rain, as is Blount. Southern Blount in red showing up along the North Carolina-Tennessee line. Now, if that's one element, throw in some lightning over the last 60 minutes, and you can see is lightning going up or down? Looks like it's been holding steady, maybe around 2,700, 2,500, maybe a few less. But the lightning is still part of this equation, and sadly is becoming still an issue for many who might be on here watching this closely. Let's see here. It is 6:04. Can you believe it? We've been on for 44 minutes. That's not possible. It is possible. Anyway, big downpour in Kodak. I got a huge downpour in Kodak from Lana. Lightning at 6 a.m. from Joshua, and a thunderstorm now in Newport from Wanda Poe. Wanda Poe, one of my premium members as well. She's also very good by giving me updates in Cobb County. So as we look at this Ultimate Doppler radar presented by InstaDry, basement waterproofing, crawl space encapsulation, and foundation repair, check them out at instadry.com. All the lightning you see is covering just what you see on the screen, but if we expand the view even further, you see that's a lot of lightning. That's like 11,000 statewide and maybe beyond the state borders that's blowing through town at this particular time. And this is what we were anticipating would happen, but would not characterize the whole day. Look at Nashville. It's quiet. Look at Memphis. They've got some flooding concerns there, but pretty much quiet. Nothing actively falling per se. But again, if I look at the national scene, let's see if that lines up because we're kind of local. There's still some rain west toward Memphis, and that's what's kind of falling there at this point. So outside of some lingering showers, I'll call them leftover showers for the afternoon, most of what's happening now will be working its way out of here probably by the next hour or two. By 8:30, many of us will say it's barely raining or it's raining lightly across much of the area. If you got a note, let me know. I'm looking at Joshua, Wanda, and Lana. I'm going to come back and take a look at power outages because those winds kind of concern me for the severe thunderstorm warning that was to expire at 6 o'clock, right? So if we look at this particular southern area, Etowah is no longer under a flash flood, no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning. Excuse me. McMinn, Monroe County did have a severe thunderstorm warning that expired at 6 o'clock. And you can see that those yellow boxes, see down toward Etowah, just disappeared at the top of the hour. So that's good news for you down to the Southern Valley. No more severe thunderstorm warnings, but we still have the concern for flash flood. Flash flood is our biggest concern at the moment. It'll be running until 9:45 for Knox and Blount and parts of Loudoun County. I mentioned until about 9. Let me go back and check. The area flood advisory runs till 8. It's kind of confusing. That's kind of like the step below the flash flood warning. But if you see these little burgundy polygons, these little burgundy red boxes, as it were, this is where the dramatic weather is an issue and will be a problem for flooding that you might want to turn around, don't drown. It is now 6 o'clock. It wouldn't be a bad idea to double check the temperatures. We got new temperatures, new visibility, and all the rest. As of 6 o'clock, it is still 69 degrees. I haven't even shown you the 7-day forecast, so I'll do that now too real briefly. But 68 Morristown, current temperature. 67 in Crossville right now at the 6 o'clock hour. 68 Maryville. We have 71 Nashville, 71 in Chattanooga. Visibility at 6 o'clock. We're down to a mile. Now that may not be fog per se. That could be low clouds and rain, but visibility is reduced in many parts of our viewing area simply because of the heavy rain. I mentioned the temperature. Temperature's 69. Dew point, how close? It's 69. So you have 100% relative humidity at this point, which would cause a reduction in humidity. A lot of wind, as you can see there in red, the left, west-southwest of Athens, but 14 is being reported miles per hour at McGee-Tyson Airport. Some of the blue would suggest well over 10, 15, and some of the green about 20. Anything that's red would be probably close to 30, 40. So there have been some strong winds, and I imagine that's a history of what the severe thunderstorms did when they came in from west to east. Mentioned too that we have the excessive rainfall. This is a concern. This was the concern the Weather Prediction Center puts out each and every day. Areas of the country they think could be susceptible for scattered flash flooding. And lo and behold, Knox County, Harriman, Maryville, all the places that are getting flash flooding kind of lines up pretty well. So they've obviously put some thought into this, and this is just to kind of give you a heads up. We're going to see maybe a future cast. Let's see. Let's take a look at the future cast. That would be helpful. Look how this lined up beautifully. 7 o'clock. Might be off a half hour or so, but this is where some of the rain is, right? Let's see if we can move this forward. Take you up to about, say, 9:30. There's still some rain. Maybe some downpours in red based on this modeling, but looks like improvement. Crossville, Jamestown. By 10, 11 o'clock, noontime. Well, you said it was going to stop rain. Well, not entirely, but the colors, certainly not as red at 12 noon. Maybe a few passing showers. This is why I said leftover showers for the afternoon. And temperatures are going to be struggling to get into the upper 70s to low 80s. I'd say about average, probably close to 80. You can see by 1:30, there's nothing. So this is not going to characterize your whole day. 2:30, around 80, sun and clouds, hazy sun, and then 4 o'clock looks like this. So it's not all that bad, all things considered. So that's where 5 p.m. Thursday takes us. Okay, and then by, say, 9 o'clock tonight, looks like maybe a few more showers may want to reappear. Another way to look at this is the big picture. Sometimes this can give us some intel. What's driving the rain this morning would appear to be the warm front as it slides across parts of Kentucky. But the heavy rains in yellow by 8 o'clock are trying to work their way into western North Carolina. Once we move into midday, maybe some lingering showers, and you can see that front still draped across some of the area. But I will say this, once we get into tomorrow, I left a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. This puts a little more activity among the Smokies at this time tomorrow, first thing tomorrow morning. But I think you're really looking at limited amounts of rain relative to what we have this morning. Friday will not be as dramatic as it was to start today. And Saturday, I left a 20% chance of rain for Saturday. I don't see a whole lot in terms of moisture there as well. Once the front comes down, I think Sunday might be a different situation. So for today, if you're just joining me, we're still tracking some flash flood warnings that run until 9:45 for Knox-Blount County, for example. Temperatures will be maybe 5 degrees hotter if you're headed to Nashville. It could be 8 degrees hotter if you're headed to Charlotte. There will be around 88, Atlanta 88, and Memphis about 83. But what we're most concerned about, how warm is it going to be where I live, David? About 79 if you're in Moorestown, Talbot, and White Pine. 79 for Newport, Del Rio, and Dandridge. About 80 for Maryville, Alcoas, 81 for Sevierville, and 78 for Wartburg. 78 for Crossville, and 78 for Jamestown. We've got an 80% chance for showers and storms. Tonight we'll be dropping down to 69. Oh, look at the fog icons. It's like they populate a lot of this map. Danny says, good morning, David. Hope you have a great day. Go Vols. I love Danny. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Go Vols. As you can see, our temperatures tonight are going to pretty much fall where they are right now. We're in the upper 60s right now. That's about all we're going to get tonight. But anyway, Danny says, go Vols. Absolutely. Should have worn my Vols tie, knowing that you'd be on here today. Felicia says, no, Knox County schools are on a 2-hour delay. Felicia, thank you for that update. That also helps because a lot of people read the comments. And if we go back to the YouTube channel, because we're live streaming both right now. I'm on youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. And I got 3 people watching now. I might be the other, but Michael Hawk says still steady rain and some flashes, lightning here, no heavy rain yet, thankfully. So he's watching it closely. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your time. And if you like YouTube, let me know. Like I said, I'm trying to expand the reach. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything to do that. Of course, that will help me know that you're interested in that information on that platform. But as I mentioned tonight, we will find more foggy spots. Could be locally dense fog. Temperatures tomorrow morning around 69 degrees. So before I get back to the radar, and I will, I want to show you the 7-day forecast. Temperatures today should be around 80 degrees. Some of them strong to severe. In some cases, just flooding. As I mentioned, rain, showers, storms, and downpours. That is a characteristic of today. Tomorrow should be about 7 degrees warmer, around 87. 30% chance for a few more showers. And then Saturday and Sunday, if we don't reach the 90-91 range, most of us will be in the upper 80s outside of the valley. I think it's going to be a hotter outlook for Saturday and Sunday, but I am hopeful that we get a lot of sunshine and a drop in humidity by middle of next week. Because look at Tuesday night, we're down to 62. Some of you on Wednesday morning could be in the upper 50s. Upper 50. Isn't that comfortable? That's very comfortable for August. But we're now moving into ragweed season. We didn't talk about pollen, but the rain helps. You know, it's a counterbalance. When it rains, it's maybe not as bad for allergy sufferers, but pollen is certainly going to be an issue with ragweed until we get our first frost. So if you're feeling not maybe on your A game, it could be because of the ragweed and the rise in pollen as we head through the month of August, and certainly usually reaches crescendo around Labor Day. That's when some folks who have allergies to ragweed really start to notice it. All right, that's the 7-day forecast. In fact, this is the first time in about an hour, because I started at 5:20. It's now 6:14. I started at 5:20. That's a lot sooner than you normally. You don't normally go until 6:40. I know. It was an hour and 20 minutes early. What was I thinking? But I just wanted to get you this information so you'd have it. But I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to get back to the radar and answer any questions that you might have. As I mentioned, Michael Hawk is on YouTube, and he's asking me questions. If that's how you want to ask me a question, I'll check that. And I'll maybe jump over to this other tab and see Carrie. She says there's rumbling in West Hamblin County. Thank you so much. And Carrie, I don't know if you knew that I mentioned that today Cornerstone Christian in Hamblin County goes back to school. Congratulations to Cornerstone Christian. Happy first day of school. The academic school year has now begun for you. So thankful for them, and thank you for that update. Tammy Bobbitt, one of my premium members, says, storms got me out of bed this morning before 5 a.m. Me too. Me too. Heavy rains and lightning. Slow down, but picking back up in North Knox County. Be safe all. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy's been a great supporter, as all my premium members have been. It's like a family. We had a picnic a couple of weeks ago, July 15th. I had free Marco's Pizza for all my premium members, for them and their families, for those that came out. We had a good turnout. But we're looking to do other things down the road, including, maybe, but not excluding, the total solar eclipse. That's in April next year. So I'd love to have you join us. Go to CaptainAccurate.com if you want to sign up, whereas we have all these types of cool conversations all the time. I saw a new green box just fired up for Kodak. Isn't that funny? weren't you just telestrating this area right in here just a few minutes ago? Are you clairvoyant? No, I'm not. But I do know where the red areas are, and the longer they linger here, is it any wonder our good friends at the National Weather Service have just now issued a new flood advisory for Jefferson County till 9/15. Now, think of a flood advisory as the step, maybe the baby step, before a flash flood warning. So if you're in the Burgundy area, you've hit the gold standard. If you're under a flash flood warning, it's immediately turn around, don't drown. Judy Kerr mentioned turn on your headlights. That's always a good idea anytime it's raining, and I believe it's state law. But the aerial flood advisory has just been issued here for Kodak, for Pigeon Forge, for Sevierville, and New Market. So that means we have the potential for some runoff. In fact, let's just go ahead and read the copy from that, because I think that too could also give us some intel as to how and what our friends at the Weather Service are in fact thinking. They wrote, flooding caused by excessive rainfall is expected in this area. This is a flood advisory in effect till 9/15. It includes Granger, Jefferson, Knox, and Sevier County. Minor flooding, that's the key. From New Market to Pigeon Forge, and all points in between, they're expecting minor flooding and the low-lying, poor drainage areas where you have water on top of roadways. So obviously the roads are wet. We didn't even talk about hydroplaning. That's the old fancy term for when your tires are having a hard time reaching the street because there's too much water there. You could also be slipping and sliding, so please be extra careful. But they mentioned the heavy rain in this area. They've received 1 and 1.5 inches in the past hour, and another ½ inch to an inch is expected in the next hour or two. So do the math, that would be 1.5 to 2.5. So 1.5 to 2.5 in this area. In fact, I'm going to use my telestrator because I'm kind of annoying like that. 1.5, right? There's 1.5 to 2.5. I think that's how they do that. Yes, that would be, yes, 2.5. So that would be in this little green box. We have 2.5 there. And in these other boxes, they're thinking 2 to 4. So that might be another way to look at it if you're a numbers person, right? If you're in the areas that are kind of a burgundy color, 2 to 4 may very well fall, once all is said and done, in the Harriman, Oak Ridge, and Knoxville area, where it might be 1.5 to 2.5 in the green boxes. And that also includes Sweetwater, Madisonville, 1.5 to 2.5. So that's how they're trying to communicate a message of rain. Lots of rain has fallen, and more is still yet to come in the next hour or two. I got another note from Alicia. She says, it's pouring down rain in Kyles Ford. I'm so glad I got Hancock County on here. I need to do a spotlight in Hancock County. I don't know, maybe Sneedsville, maybe Kyles Ford. You have to tell me, where should I go? Because I just did Oak Ridge yesterday. It was awesome. If you haven't seen my pictures, I hope you'll check them out. I took 80 pictures of Oak Ridge yesterday in my Tennessee spotlight. It was my 36th one that I've done. I usually do one a week, but very happy to have those pictures. I'd love to, if you could share them, let other people see them. Darcy says she's out the door and headed to Ray County. Please drive safely, Darcy. Giving my extra time today. Safe travels, everyone. Thank you, Darcy. Sharon, I got Sharon. Sharon's on here. She says thunder, lightning, and rain in Tazewell. We've got Claiborne County represented with her comment. Marty Melvin, good morning, Captain. Stay safe, East Tennessee. Marty's in North Carolina. So he's got his own weather event, and we've got our weather event. I'm happy to have him here and happy to have you here. We'll make it through this. We're a hardy bunch. We'll do it. We'll get through this. But it is what it is. It's not a severe thunderstorm. It's not a replay of Monday. Now, I think a lot of us, every time we have an event like Monday, everyone can be gun shy to think that every day is going to be like that, or every severe day is going to be like that. It's kind of like every wave at the ocean. Some come in small, some come in like a tsunami, and sometimes they come in somewhere in between. But this is probably maybe more in the lower side of the in-between. We got heavy rain, yes. We've got plenty of lightning. You just take your pick, over 2,000 lightning strikes. But we are seeing some improvement now west of Crossville. In fact, Crossville itself, tell me if I'm wrong here, looks like Crossville proper is almost pretty much done. This light shade of green may not even be reaching the ground around Rolling Hills, but it looks dry in Cumberland Heights, and it looks dry in Glendale and Foxfire. So we've got some areas in Cumberland County that's seen some improvement. That's not to say you couldn't get another shower today. You could, but I'll call them leftover showers. Some that haven't even formed on radar yet could appear this afternoon. So that's where things are at this moment. Just to recap, if you're just joining me at 6:20, I've been on the air for a full hour. I am live right now on Facebook and YouTube. You're on YouTube? Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Same time. Same exact time. It's pretty amazing. In fact, I could do two things at once. I could walk and chew gum. But I can tell you, I'm on YouTube, and I got this cool comment from Steve Stone. He's over here. He's back in Rockford. He's got the thunderstorms. Thank you, Steve. Steve's jumped from one platform to the other. I love it, Steve. You're keeping me on my toes. Michael Hawks says he's still got steady rain and flashes here. I think he's pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Michael's in the Morristown area. So you look over here. I got some rain in Morristown. It's not as dramatic. In fact, some of the red areas over here are showing up around Newport and Cosby. So let's go town to town. I can show you where the boxes are. And it's important to know the expiration times. 9:15 for the flood advisory for Newmarket. Knoxville, flash flood warning till 9:45. The one around Harriman runs until 9:15. So that one will expire about a half hour sooner. The one in Madisonville, flood advisory till 9. Spring City, haven't talked much about Ray County. Got Darcy headed there. 8 o'clock, flood advisory for you. 8 o'clock, Ray County until that point. And Sparta, till 5:30 Central Time for White County, if you're headed in that direction. But just want to show you right now where we have some concerns. Obviously, the flash flood warnings are the greatest concern. So the expression "turn around, don't drown" applies. Hydroplaning, where your car tires don't touch the surface, can be a concern. So you want to slow down and turn on your headlights, as our good friend Judy Kerr reminded us. I think it's good advice. Dandridge and Newport. These are the spots. And I'm looking at Newport. These are the spots where other flood advisories might develop because of all the red areas. So Sandy Ridge, Bird Crossroad, East Fork, and Pittman Center getting pounded with some very heavy rain at this point. Are they getting lightning? I'd say yes. Probably quite a bit of lightning too. And then you'll notice that most of the lightning you could see extends further west and has shown a history of moving up from the Southern Valley. Just over the last hour, see how this lightning's come in. It's kind of moving in like so. So this is where things stand at the moment, and I am hopeful that some of the heavy rains, the steadier rains, will in fact disappear here in a short period of time. But all the rain you can see around Morristown is actually heading, the redness is moving south of Morristown, and some of the yellow areas around La Follette are beginning to weaken. We haven't talked much about Campbell County, simply because you have not been under the warning. But Maynardville, La Follette, Kerrville, light to moderate rain in yellow. Paulette and Luttrell, Speedwell, not under any type of warning, but just wanted to acknowledge you this morning. Oneida's had quite a bit of rain, but it looks like rain is improving. The dryness is moving in northwest of Oneida at this hour and should be moving into drier air from Elgin to Sunbright here in the next 30 minutes, if not sooner. Morristown, let's go over where Michael Hawk is. He's got some heavier rains maybe around Dover. In red, around Kingswood and Silver City. Alpha, of course, we have our cone of silence. Around Talbot, we have very little data where the radar is, but we know it's raining there too, just looking around. And then heading further south, Belmont, Oak Grove, and Swan, downpours. This is just southwest of Bainbury. And Bybee's getting some rain, especially south of you, including Gum Spring and Newport. So these are the hot spots in red. This is where the active weather is at the most at this moment. But just to recap, those who were under the severe thunderstorm, those who are under the flash flood warning, until 9:45 include the following towns: Fountain City, Vestal, Knoxville, Bayview, Oakview, Cave Mill, Rockford, Arrowhead, and Alcoa Maryville. Friendsville, we heard from Cody how it's like a river. The driveway turns into a river with all the rain when it comes down in a fury, so please be extra careful. Lenore City, you're under a flash flood warning until 9:45. And as I mentioned, there are some spots, Farragut and maybe Hardin Valley Carnes are under a flash flood warning till 9:15, so that'll expire about a half hour sooner. Oak Ridge until 9:15, Harriman, Kingston, 9:15, and Rockwood at 9:15. That's when that'll expire. Let me see if I have real quickly the setup I have on my warning. So I click on the green boxes, and they often show the aerial flood advisory. But I wanted to put the flash flood warning one a little bit higher on my itinerary. Let's see here. Where did I put that? Down here. There it is. I see it here. But most of, again, the flash flood warning
clearly a bigger issue when turn this off now. I was just trying because I have two warnings at the same time. You got flash flood warning till 8:15 Central Time. It covers just a smidge of Cumberland County. Now there's the 8:15. That's really 9:15 Eastern Time for just a smidge of Cumberland County. If you're on the call, let me know. I'm looking at Michael Hawk. He says, thanks for getting us through another stormy day, David. Hope these storms do wake up with a good sunrise. We'll see. Hey, this time last year, we were kind of moving into a very dry period. If I remember correctly, certainly September, October. Usually very dry in October. That's historical. It's the driest month of the year, October. But we were under a drought. We had a lot of concern for drought. You get these types of situations periodically through the summer. Drought is the farthest thing from one's mind, right? You kind of say for the growing season, it was nice to get the rain, but it sure would have been nice if we didn't get it all at once. And that's sometimes the case. We get it all at once at times. But if you're on the Facebook, let me know. And if you're on YouTube, let me know. I'm doing both at the same exact time. I got some notes here as I'm looking at the flash flood warning. Freddie says, good morning. A long-lasting ground-soaking, ground-shaking experience overnight here on the plateau. Freddie, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm right there with you. It made me wake up a lot sooner than my alarm would have gone off. I'm sure my alarm would have gone off when it was supposed to, but Mother Nature sometimes has a way of just kind of tapping you on your shoulder, and that was this case today. Cats and dogs probably were probably stirred up a little bit. Some might be under the desk or under the bed in some cases. Pauline says it's calmed down here a bit in East Maryville. Awesome. It's going to get better. Thank you, Pauline. She's one of my premium members. Now I need to take a nap. It's like everybody commence napping. But well, you know the day is already starting, right? It's 6:27, and we're just interested now getting our kids to school, get to work, or whatever. I'm going to keep going because I'm normally going at 6:40. That's like 13 minutes from now. But I will be on here for a little while longer to get you out the door. Fred says he's heading to Pigeon Forge. Ed says he's heading to Pigeon Forge from Fountain City around 9 o'clock. Will I be out of the major stuff? You will be. Just be mindful some roads might still have some standing water. Like I said, the active weather that I'm seeing here, notice this was a lot of redness when I went on this morning at 5:20, a little more than an hour ago. Now it's just yellow. So what do you think is going to happen in an hour? It'll just be green, or there'll be nothing at all. Maybe a few remnant showers like we see in Crossville at this particular time. There's a few showers that have developed in Cumberland County from Crossville points west. So if you look at this, it says, why does that say Cumberland County at 8:15? Because they drew the box, our friends at the Weather Service. It looks like it's right on the line. So, and that's also, if it's not on the line, it's right on the time zone line, because once you cross into Rockwood and into Cumberland County, it says you've now entered the central time zone. But that's really 9:15 Eastern time for Harriman, Kingston, and Bradbury, just to give you perspective. So that's where that comes from. But if I'm going to show you real quickly, it's now 6:28. Good time to check power outages. I didn't get a chance to do that on the last go around. Let me take a look here. Here's my power outages. Let's see where things are. Are we getting more or less? It looked like we went up. Yeah, we have. We're now up to 2,000. So we had about 300 at 4:30, and then it went to 700, then it went to 1,000. I'm looking at the clock, and this is think of this as a 1-hour time lapse for the power outages. So we've added some power outages in Madisonville, or perhaps Monroe County, and Blount, and also into Sevier County, about 200 or 300. So there are some that have had loss of power with the storms that have come in this morning. And I think it was very well put by Freddie Marler that he's had that long-lasting, ground-soaking, ground-shaking experience. Because there are some who are now without power in the valley because of the storms that came through earlier. And if you really need evidence from just the satellite view, anything that's blue would suggest cold cloud tops. When you start to see yellow, orange, and red, very cold cloud tops as the clouds and thunderstorms have grown vertically, and we've had a lot of that activity. You can see that the colors are marching eastward. This is a 6-hour time lapse. So this goes back to about 12:30 this morning, and now the heavier storms are now pushing east. And there may not be as much for you in Morristown from Michael Hawk as it would be what you had already fall in places like Oak Ridge and Knoxville, and also into around Etowah. A lot of rain has fallen in a short period of time. That's been the big concern. I mentioned temperatures right now are still in the 60s. We're still about 69. Knoxville, 68 in La Follette. Back to the radar. Want to show you again what we're going to see. We're expecting a high near 80 today. Some will be upper 70s, some will be low 80s. But again, with a wet ground, it's not going to be an above average day. It's going to be another below average day. Below average day for August. Normal high would be around 88 this time of year. We could easily be 8 degrees below that this afternoon. But here it is at 6:30. What you're looking at are the showers. Let me go back to the future radar. We're going to do what I like to call a time machine, because it says 6:31. Let's see if we could go to 7:30. What's it going to look like? Because the question Ed had was, if I leave from Fountain City to Pigeon Forge, I think that was what he said. Yeah, heading to Pigeon Forge from Fountain City. So we're going Fountain City to Pigeon Forge around 9. Let's see what's going to look like even by 7:30, right? If this is where we are now, this is where it's going. Oh my goodness, the rain stops. You're like, that's newsworthy. Hey, the rain's going to stop in Harriman and Clinton and Knoxville probably around within the hour, right around 7:30. That's how this is projected. So at the rate it's moving, which again, math teachers love this, your initial condition, calculus, and where things are going to be 12 hours from now, 24 hours from now. How about just 1 hour from now? This is where we're going to be 1 hour from now. This is representative of 7:31 this morning. And at that time, there'll still be a flash flood warning in Burgundy and Harriman and Knoxville and Maryville, because that'll last till 9:15, 9:45, but the rain will likely have ended. And I know that seems like an oxymoron. Things, how could they have a flash flood warning if it's not raining? It's because they've already had the rain. They will have received 2 to 4 inches. 2 to 4 inches. That's why the warnings last, and it's going to take a while for the waters to completely recede. Felicia says, my aunt finally got some power back yesterday in South Knoxville from the earlier storms. Hopefully it doesn't go out again. It's been one of those things where these storms can surprise you, and they can bring in not only a lot of water, in some cases, as we saw Southern Valley, a severe thunderstorm, but those winds can do some damage to trees and power lines. And it's just part of the course. But we'll get through this, I'm sure. I know we will. Wanda says my power is still on here in Newport. That's a blessing. Thank you, Wanda, for sharing. Every day is a gift, and having your power on is certainly a gift. Ed was mentioning he's going to Pigeon Forge from Fountain City. Looks like you'll be fine, because by 7:30. It's already probably stopped in Fountain City, right? This is a projection. Now you'll notice the banner says future radar. This is what has not yet transpired. This has not yet happened, but you can see almost half of our viewing area has dried out by 7:30 in less than an hour. It's good news there. I mean, it's really good news there. But you'll notice that a lot of the areas are certainly are going to be pretty soggy eastbound. So if you're still in Newport and Morristown, you're still getting quite a bit of rain an hour from now, because it still has to work its way toward the Tri-Cities. So hopefully that gives you some help and some perspective. It is now 6:33. Most people are usually looking to Facebook about 6:40. I think I'll do at least a service to get me to a 6:40. So if any audience that might watch me normally at 6:40 will still find me here. I'm also I'm doing double duty. I'm on YouTube at the moment, as well as Facebook, at the same exact time. I'm live streaming on both channels at the same exact time, which is cool, because if you let me know what format you like, if you like YouTube, if this is your go-to, I got 5 people watching. And we've been on for 73 minutes, so that tells you a story. We got some people on here. I see Michael. He says, thanks for getting us through another stormy day. He mentioned that earlier, and Steve Stone's been on here leaving a comment. So if you have a comment on YouTube, I'll do my best to answer it. If you have a comment on Facebook, I just changed my tab, and I can see some notes here. I'll do my best to answer that as well. But these are fun things to do. I say fun. The live streaming is fun to do if you have an audience. And I certainly would love to continue to build up my YouTube audience. So if you would like to check and subscribe to me there, it's like following me. It doesn't cost anything to follow me on YouTube. I would love to have you let me know, because this way I can expand my reach in ways that I'm not currently doing it. But just want to remind you, it's now 6:35. We have 2 flash flood warnings in effect. The Harriman one lasts until 9:15. The one in downtown Knoxville, Maryville, Loudon, lasts until 9:45. And we have a couple, actually 3 or so. We have the aerial flood advisory till 8. That includes Ray County, Spring City, Madisonville till 9, Sweetwater till 9, and then Newmarket, Kodak, Sevierville until 9:15. So we've got 2 good features here. 2 pieces of good news, as we looked a moment ago at the future radar. Oh, it looks like a little brand new box. Looks like Gatlinburg area. Yep. Sevier County, 945. Wouldn't surprise me, Newport, since look at how much color is between Newport and Cosby. We've had quite a bit of red areas here, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's a new box here. It's issued in Cocke County here in the next few minutes. We'll see, but they just issued a new one for the Gatlinburg area until 9:45 for an aerial flood advisory. That's for minor flooding. So the green boxes represent minor flooding. The red burgundy boxes represent significant flooding. So please be extra careful if you're driving through Maryville, Knoxville, trying to get to work this morning. Again, said that the worst of this would start between 2 and 4. It has lingered on for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours in some cases, but it will get better, as it's already getting better and has gotten better in Jamestown. It's gotten better in Crossville, although a few showers remain, but it's certainly better in places like northern Morgan County and northern Scott County at this particular hour. So we got another note mentioned from Felicia. She mentioned her aunt finally got the power back. Nothing worse than losing power. I feel like that in this day and age, we get so reliant on power and, of course, the internet all at the same time. Hopefully it doesn't go out again. And Wanda talking about how she's had some power restored as well. It is now 6:36. I'm going to go on for about 5 or 6 more minutes. Just want to recap for those who might be joining me, because, again, this is actually 3 minutes. I usually start at 6:40. And if I wasn't on yesterday morning because I was doing the Facebook, I was doing the Tennessee Spotlight. I went to Oak Ridge, Anderson County. Great pictures, by the way. Check them out on my Facebook page. But I took 80 pictures of Oak Ridge. You say, how could you possibly take 80 pictures? It was easy. In fact, I had taken about 95 pictures during the course of the day, and I had to pare them down because Facebook limits you to only 80. So I had to delete 15 photos, kind of edited them out. But I did take a lot of great photos that you might want to check out if you have interest in Oak Ridge. I love spotlighting all the things beautiful about East Tennessee. And there's a lot of beauty here. You don't need me to tell you. If you've been here most of your life, maybe you were born and raised here, and you see it all the time. Sometimes it's nice to see it through the eyes of somebody who did not necessarily grow up here in this part of the world. But I do love it. I've been here since 2010. And I've seen a lot of towns, and I thought I knew a lot, but the more I do these spotlights, the more, in fact, I learn. All right, Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by InstaDry. Waterproof your basement, foundation repair, and crawl space encapsulation. If you need any help with that, get a free estimate. Go to instadry.com. Then they can help you with some issues that you might have. Maybe it's some basement water, water in your basement. You might have some issues with water in the basement. InstaDry can help you out in a pinch. So give them a call. Go to instadry.com. Now you'll notice the rain has already ended across much of McCreary County. Still a couple of showers around Williamsburg and Jellicoe. Further north you travel on I-75. Still raining around the Middlesboro, Pineville area, but not that hard. Once you go up to Speedwell, Sharps Chapel, and Maynardville, you'll see that the rain has turned more moderate in yellow. That's an improvement over the last 30 minutes. In fact, let's see where we were 30 minutes ago. Yeah, it's kind of all rolled in to Maynardville. It was in the Caryville area and Huntsville, and now it's moved to Maynardville. So all that's beginning to work its way pretty quickly to the east. And I suspect Scott County will be celebrating dry weather here in a little bit, see a big improvement, maybe some residual showers in the Huntsville area. But you go further south and east of Wartburg, still some rain, but drying out in northern Morgan County. And a couple of showers now have moved from Crossville to Fairfield Glade. These are the remnant showers that weren't here even 30 minutes ago. So you can watch this, that kind of forms up. And so we're going to see some showers this afternoon that are not even on radar yet. That's my anticipation. So I left an 80% chance of rain today, most of it in the morning. What you're dealing with right now is the worst of it. And if I were to conjecture, just based on what I see in red, we're going to probably put a whole new green aerial flood advisory in here, possibly, right? So I don't want to second guess, but I'm gonna make an educated guess that given all this redness that's around Newport, maybe Del Rio, Cosby area in the last 30 minutes, that they may issue a aerial flood advisory there. They just issued this one that includes Gatlinburg till 9:45. They've got one that's Sevierville until 9:15. Got one in Madisonville, Sweetwater till 9, and Spring City till 8. So obviously different expiration times, but all the green boxes represent minor flooding. minor flooding. Wanda Poe says, I'm so glad you're here, David. Thank you for still coming down in buckets. Yeah, you're still going to be getting the brunt of it heading in toward Cock County, Wanda. You might have to wait, obviously, past 7:30 before you start to see things improve. Carrie says rain is coming down in Alpha Heights in Morristown. Everyone be safe. And I'm thinking Morristown, I'm thinking Michael Hawk. He might be getting some rain. He could share that with me on the YouTube channel because we're actually streaming right now on both Facebook and YouTube at the same exact time. Glad to be able to be here. And we got 6 people watching now. So if you're on YouTube, let me know if you like this format. I'll make a point to do Facebook Lives on both channels so that you can find the platform that's best for you. Because everybody gets information, receives it differently. I always want to urge you to download my free Captain Accurate weather app at the App Store, Google Play. It's been around for 3.5 years or so. It has Pete Michaels traffic, the best in the business. I love the fact that Pete's there because weather and traffic are perfect together. And on a morning like today, wouldn't you like to know the traffic reports? All you have to do is tap his little rectangle and you get that. In fact, I just made a point on my app. I had to kind of thought this out through. I don't know if you all can see this, but maybe I'll come back over here on camera. I actually had to remove the Twitter bird. I put the X. You say the X? Oh, yeah, well, it's Facebook and X. So anyway, a little adjustment, but I love the fact that we have not only the ability to go live, YouTube, as well as on Facebook, but also getting those alerts from the Captain Accurate Weather app are priceless, especially if it gives you the real-time information that you so deserve. You get all the National Weather Service alerts, plus 3 extras from Barron, which is like the secret sauce. You can get a twisting storm approaching alert when the Weather Service doesn't issue a tornado warning. And that was really driven home by Michael Norman, one of my premium members, but also he has lots of weather apps, he says, and he says that Captain Accurate Weather app was the only one that was telling him, hey, time to get in the basement. So there's some very high value to this app. It's world class. It does give you a lot of intel that you may not always get from other sources. All right, that's my soapbox. It is now 6:42. Good morning if you are just joining me for the first time this morning. I've been on since 5:20. You go, I didn't know. Was this planned? Not exactly. I mean, I was on call. Let's say it that way. I told myself, I'm on call. Because, you know, if you have a storm system coming in between 2 and 4 a.m., maybe you should be ready to go live if the situation warrants it. So I went on at 5:20. I've been yapping and still talking since 5:20. So that's what, an hour and 23 minutes. But I'm happy to be here just to bring you up to speed. If you're just joining me, we have 2 flash flood warnings. The one that includes downtown Knoxville runs till 9:45. The one that's Oak Ridge, Kingston till 9:15. Now, clearly, it won't still be raining in those areas. Not clearly, but should not be raining in those areas within an hour from now. But because of the runoff, because the ground is saturated, and because there's still going to be standing water, the Weather Service issues these warnings that last hours into the future. So you're still looking at about 3 hours before the flash flood warning expires for Knoxville, and it's not going to rain for the next 3 hours. It probably will stop within the hour in many parts of the valley. But just wanted to kind of put into check the expectations. Rain's not going to do that much longer, but the warnings, they will last. They're going to linger simply because they want you to be careful on the roads. And this is very important for school buses here at 6:44 as they roll out. We heard there was, Joshua mentioned a lightning and a school bus crash, some real concerns there. Michael Hawk, he's on YouTube. He's got a little comment for me. He's got a comment here. He says, well, yep, it's still raining and still rumbling, LOL. Yeah, we got the lightning too. We got all that going on. Like we're multitasking in terms of the rain and the storms. And on Facebook, I got Teresa. She's on here. Good morning to you. This is what I'm usually on. I'm usually on from 6:40 to 7. That's where I am. This is my normal time slot. But because of the storms, I came in an hour and 20 minutes early because I love you. That's why I did it. Anyway, Teresa says it's steady, ready to follow it. Thunder is subsiding. And Felicia says that the rain is picking up here in South Knoxville, and still heavy, says Fred, in Maryville. So, yeah, think about this. This is one of the situations where it's going to ebb and flow. We can see with high confidence that this rain will start to slow down. Is it any wonder? Fred says the rain's picked up in Maryville. What do you see in Maryville? A little patch of red. A little patch of red. That's what he's probably seeing. Now, I don't know for sure. Maybe he's on the east side of town. Maybe he's in town. But I'm looking between Maryville and Asbury Estates. That's where some heavy rains have shown up in red, and that may be why he says, hey, the rain's picked up. But it's slowing down around, say, Friendsville and it's slowing down further west toward Loudoun and Lenoir City. It's just a light shade of green. But the heavier rains, no doubt, are still focused in yellow and red between Kodak, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and we have those flood advisories, that's the green boxes, for minor flooding till 9:15 for Jefferson County, till 9 o'clock for Greenback, Madisonville, and southern sections of Blount County till 9:45, 9:45 for southern severe. And as I've told you, I think it's probably within reason. Not saying it will happen, but wouldn't surprise me if we see another little green box somewhere in here where all this redness has been as this next batch comes through from Sevierville, because this is all moving to the east. Let's go 30 minutes from now. Yep, look where it's moving. Looks like it's moving that way. Yeah, it's moving that way, all right. So my little yellow telestrator is where I suspect there could be another aerial flood advisory issued for minor flooding. But we'll have to wait and see. But it has been raining hard in Cocke County, most recently through Newport, now moving to the east. So we got Teresa says it's steady rain in La Follette and thunder is subsiding. Let's look at the thunder in La Follette. That's a great question, Teresa. Glad that you're here. As far as the thunder and lightning, just from our local view here, 1,600. That's an improvement because 30 minutes ago or less, it was 2,700. So it's weakening, yeah. And it's moving on. Nothing to see here. Some of the thunderstorms are beginning to move away. But they are and have been kind of gathered together around Madisonville and Etowah most recently. But toward La Follette, where Teresa is, Teresa Bowman is saying, hey, it's steady rain, but the thunder is subsiding. That's good. Some of these could be more historical lightning bolts, but they are working their way to the east. You can see that pretty clearly at this time. So that's where things are at the moment. It is now 6:47. Oh, yes. And before I get too long here, I'm going to go back and show you the 7-day, because you normally tune in. Some of you normally tune in live to see me present the weather at, well, look at that. It's drying out nicely in Harriman and Wartburg. See, I'm telling you what, it's getting better a lot quicker. And that's what we thought would happen between now and 7:30. It's not even 6:48 yet, but we are seeing some improvement in Spring City, Wartburg, Jamestown, and Oneida in a big way. But as I mentioned, it is 6:47. Normally I'll show you the 7-day, and I want to do that too. But at 6:48 at this particular hour, we have some power outages maybe to discuss. It's now 69 degrees in Knoxville, 69 in Oak Ridge, and our power outages have come up. Now we suddenly have some in Crossville, or at least Cumberland County. They're up to 700. See, all these, this is what's happened in the last hour. So I like having the time lapse because they start to show the increase or the decrease in the loss of power. And nothing's worse, it seems, than when you have power outages dealing with this type of situation. But please know that things will get better over time, but it is possible that you could still have some power issues given all the rain that's fallen and all of the lightning strikes, power down trees. I did not show this yet. Oh, I had this prepared. Headlines. It's now 6:48. Strong to severe storms this morning with downpours, but the storms and downpours taper today, like within the hour or two in many cases. But there will be a few showers possible on Friday. I left a 30% chance there. So as far as today is concerned, this is what I expect. Highs in the upper 70s, low 80s. About 81 in Kingston. If Tellico Plains got to 83, it wouldn't surprise me. Some of you will be in the upper 70s, Crossville, 78, Jamestown. The heaviest of rains will be this morning, and then some leftover showers for this afternoon. And there will be some hazy sun thrown in for good measure. You will see some sun today. But if you're traveling further west, Nashville with an N, 85. If you're headed to Asheville with an A, it's 82. And about 78 Tri-Cities, but they could be 10 degrees warmer today in Charlotte, about 88, and Atlanta at 88 degrees. Tonight, I'm anticipating here about 69 for a low. That's pretty much where we are right now. But notice the fog, we call them icons. There's little markers. Fog, 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 fog. There's going to be some patches of dense fog tomorrow morning. And I believe I can show you, if I'm not mistaken, I can show you what that might look like. You can do that? I can do that. Let's see what this looks like. Let's go ahead and see if I can move this forward. Now, this is future visibility now, but let's go to tomorrow. Given all the rain that we have right now, the question is, will this take me out that far? Probably not. Take me to about 11:45 tonight, so that's not as helpful. But I will tell you where it's rained hard is a good susceptible spot for some dense fog tomorrow morning. That's just a given. As far as the severe weather is concerned, let me see if I can pull in here. This should say today. Severe weather has now been taken off the table for today for the area in Knoxville. If it's not that apparent, it's because I mislabeled it. Let me go ahead and type that in there, and now it's done. So that says today. So that's where we have the issues for severe weather today. Charlotte, Raleigh, Virginia Beach, not an issue here. And come tomorrow, which of course is Friday, you're like, Friday? Yeah, Friday's looking okay, except for the Chicago area, where there could be some severe storms up there, up toward Minneapolis, and maybe some isolated severe storms tomorrow toward Atlanta. So that's my expectation, of actually the Storm Prediction Center's expectation. But my expectation was that we would have just some run-of-the-mill thunderstorms tomorrow, about a 30% chance. Now, to get to the 7-day, because it's now 6:51. I'm going to finish a little early, but I wanted you to have the information that is associated with my Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast. So 80 today, strong to severe with downpours. Few showers tomorrow. We're up to 87. But I do expect a hotter weekend, and it's going to be humid too. Overnight lows will be around 70, 72 on Saturday. And you can see, let's put this back into motion here. It'll be helpful if I just play it through and then let it load. I kept messing with it. That's my problem. But no, with temperatures in the morning in the lower 70s this weekend, it's going to be very, very humid. But it conversely drops 10 degrees come Wednesday morning. So looking ahead to next week, the drop in humidity will be one of those refreshing starts. In fact, I anticipate some of you will be in the upper 50s come Wednesday morning next week. So I know it's long range, I mean 7 days out, but well, it gets really humid and it really gets low. It's kind of like the high tide and then it's low tide, all on the same beach, all in the same town of East Tennessee. How can that be? It's just the way it goes. But I can tell you my expectation is that we're going to find a hot weekend, 91, 90. Many of us outside of Knoxville will at least be in the upper 80s, so it will be a lot hotter with a 40% chance of rain on Sunday. Monday's rains look fragmented. It could be early morning and then a large break, and then it comes in Monday night. So I wouldn't say Monday's a washout by any stretch, but there will be the possibility that we get some rain either very early or very late in the day on Monday. That's the way things are trending, at least right now. So if you're on the call, let me know. I'm going to go back to the radar, but thank you to Fred, Teresa, Felicia, and Wanda. Back to YouTube, because we're on YouTube right now. We got 7 people watching. Michael says, yes, yep, it's still raining and it's still rumbling. I'm going to get back to the radar, and then I'm going to sign off because I normally am wrapped up by 7 o'clock, and today should be no exception. No exception for sure. But I just want to show you the radar. How are things looking? I'd say they're looking really good. In Decatur, Spring City, downtown Crossville is dried out. A couple of showers south toward maybe Lake Tansy. Wartburg is dried out. Harriman is drying out. Yay, Harriman. That's good news, especially if you're trying to get to work or school. And the Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by InstaDry. Foundation repair, basement waterproofing, crawl space encapsulation. Get a free estimate. Go to instadry.com. You can see all this rain is working how and where. It's moving east. The heavier rains in red have now moved into southern Greene County, and it's picked up more moderately in the Tri-Cities. So this is where things are and where they have been in the last hour. And I mentioned earlier, there's going to be some improvement here heading into the next hour. Much improved. In fact, you can see here, this is where things are. This is where they are now. This is where they're going to be by about 7:54, right? 7:54. There's hardly any rain. Oh, there's some in Knox County. Maybe a passing shower, and it will have improved dramatically from Jellicoe to La Follette to Clinton to Loudoun to Madisonville. So that's it in a nutshell. Very thankful for you. Again, just very wanted you to know where things are going and where they're trending. But right now, we still have that flash flood warning. If you're just joining me, for areas in Knox County till 9:45. The Harriman box lasts for a flash flood warning till 9:15, even though the steady rains are going to end. Seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's just the way things go because runoff can sometimes take a lot longer. They have a memory. All that standing water has to go somewhere, and the ground is certainly saturated with 2 to 4 inches. 2 to 4 inches potentially has fallen in these little red areas. So please be extra careful. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. Thank you so much for joining me on Facebook and YouTube because I've been doing both at the same time. I love it. But we'll see you here next time. Take care.